Hey all, it's Janie Redbrick. I'm an AFOL. That means adult fan of Lego, which means I spend my time building and playing with toys. It's a pretty good gig if you can get it. Anyhow, today I thought I would show you a few of the latest Incredibles sets, which it's kind of weird since they're junior sets, they're quite small. The first time we saw The Incredibles was with the Disney Collector Fig series, and we saw Mr. Incredible and Syndrome. I was kind of surprised at the time that they didn't do the whole family, so I, much like any AFOL, hoarded a bunch of Mr. Incredibles and did up his wife and the daughter, which I stole some friend's hair, and the son. Never was quite happy with the mom's hair, but it worked and it was convincing enough for the family. However, baby Jack was kind of a little impossible to pull off since we had never seen really any of the small miniature pieces for the baby in red, or definitely not in a superhero costume. So I'm not going to go through and unbox and build each set. I mean, it's a Lego set. It's pretty simple. There's bags inside. You open it up, you dump it out. Random bags fall out. They have number systems, which weirdly do not have the same font, which has always been a mystery to me. Anyhow, the smallest set we have is the one we'll start with first. I have pre-built these so you don't have to watch the tediousness of me building Lego. The sets are $107.59, $60, and $61, and they are $25, $30, and $40 respectively. So, I mean, you can use your method of opening the boxes. I prefer, the butchering fun, but anyhow, we'll move on with that and get those pieces to the first set. So here we have the completed. Now keep in mind this is a junior set. It is for children ages 4 to 7, so I just fit in that age range, at least emotionally, maybe mentally. There's a couple of interesting pieces that I think warrant a little more discussion. So first of all, the two figs, which always is popular with the kids and many of the adults. As you can see, I have a bit of a collection going on in my wall there. So we have a new and improved mom from my version, and some bad guy at this point. I don't know who it is. Haven't seen the second movie yet. I'm not even sure when it comes out in theaters, which was kind of surprising to me that the sets were already in the stores. Anyhow, there's a few other interesting pieces. One thing that's always neat about the junior set is I know a lot of us adults don't care for stickers on our sets. It's probably a mix of the fact that this hobby tends to have people who are very particular on how things are put together, and it is almost impossible to get a sticker on aligned 100%. And I also think that it is a bit of quality, stickers can tear, can peel up, and those kind of things. And Lego has had quality issues over the years. Of any of us who have been collecting for decades, we do remember those areas of time where stickers were very apt to peel up. So one of the nice things about the junior sets is that they skip the stickering, so anything that you see with graphics on is actually printed. So there's a quite nice big tile here printed. This set comes with two vehicles. So you get the helicopter, which I found reminiscent of the Jack Stone days, because the entire helicopter, everything you see in dark blue, aside from the landing gear, is all one piece. Makes it nice for kids. I'm not quite sure why the back plate wouldn't have been blue and no longer belongs on the helicopter. It does have a very hypnotic little printed radar dish on top. I'm sure this plays along in the storyline. Let's see what we have here. Anything else of note? I think that's pretty much it, except for there's a lovely gray motorcycle. It's quite nice and will find itself in my Lego town, I'm sure, probably minus this piece at the end, which I don't quite get. Anyhow, moving on to the next set. We'll go with the one that features the mom and dad. That's the second size setup. This is the bank heist. It has, I'll hold it up so you can see what's included. So as you can see, it has mom and dad, or Mr. and Mrs. Incredible. Some people may be wondering how he compares to the original from the set. There are slight differences. His hairpiece is slightly different. His facial expressions are slightly different. And the printing on the, particularly around the belt line and stuff, has slight differences. Is it a huge difference? Absolutely no. But if you're a person who has to have every single character in a certain theme or that Lego's ever produced, then yes, you're going to need them both. We have this vehicle. Again, keep in mind this is a junior set, so they're pretty simplistic builds. There is a nice printed slope for the dashboard. The drill bits are just on one of what I would call the old staircase spindles. So, and the car chassis are one piece. Apparently I just lost my money out of my, because you know I typically drive around with just money in an open bin in the back of my drilling machine. I don't really have much to say about the cars and vehicles in this set. They're simplistic, they drive, the kids can say vroom vroom, pretty much does what it needs to do. It's certainly not a great piece of work of art. We do have an extra minifigure in this one. He's got some very nifty big mining hands. And probably of more interest, at least for me, are always the extra accessories that you can add to your Lego city or something. So the garbage can had a pop can with a printed lid, and there was a nice kind of wanted poster on a panel, again printed, not stickered. And the which I believe is the bank, has you know, a pretty simplistic idea, but it allows you to drill through on this printed panel. I can see this being used on some kind of great AFOL build in multiple copies. There are always things that make me wonder about Lego ideas, because you know, in the bank there's just a bag of money on the inside the vault, and a diamond perched on top of a I guess a safety deposit box. There's always these moments where Lego does things inside the safety deposit boxes, what we've seen many times, the printed $100 greenback. We have a almost gold tile. It makes me wonder why they didn't use the ingot tile, which would have been just a kind of a little bit of a nicer upgrade. And I don't think any real significant cost difference. So when sets pick pieces, I'm always surprised sometimes. Anyhow, I think that's it. There is also a hand cart that comes with this. We've seen this a million times in this exact color. Lego, you know, maybe a gray would be kind of nice, but again, I keep in mind it's a kid's toy, so my desires for more muted colors are probably going to be overlooked. Last but not least, oh, well, that's the great thing about Lego. We'll have a little bit of a rebuild later. Last but not least, we will go into the largest set, which I guess is the home of The Incredibles. It's been a long time since I saw the original film. I will refresh myself probably before I go see part 2. For the minifigs, we finally get to see Baby Jack, which is basically why I really wanted to buy these sets. We have the son and the daughter, who has a much better hairpiece than the one I had chosen, and some strange villain, I assume, since she has a vehicle that flicks bricks. Apparently that's her defense system, is throwing bricks at people. I don't recommend this. This is not very kind. The house itself has a few nice pieces. We have a printed brick on the fireplace. As you can see, it looks like it is the whole lovely family. And you have the always well used by AFOL curved window piece in light blue. We have a very lovely lounge for outside that also is another way to flick bricks at your friends. I'm not quite sure what kind of play value all the flicking bricks and the, you know, you'll shoot your eye out photos in the instructions, what purpose that, like, I just, in all my teaching of kids, I don't really see them flicking bricks. I don't see the excitement in flicking bricks, but it seems to be a recurring theme in many Lego sets. Overall, for junior sets, I think they're fantastic. I think it's amazing that you only have to buy 3, or really, honestly, 2 sets to get the whole family. The 3rd set would give you the mom that has the stretch arms. That was one thing I found surprising. These sets have minimal extra pieces. You'll get your typical 1x1 round or something like that. But weirdly enough, my set had a duplicate of her arms. I'm not sure if that's on purpose, if maybe they're concerned about the durability. It's always a guessing game for us adults of what parts are extra. Lately we've been noticing that in some sets this piece comes as an extra now, yet in this one it didn't, so I can't make heads or tails out of it. Perhaps if you know more you can. I was very curious about how this was going to be put together. When I saw it on the box, it does come already together, so that problem is already solved. I imagine there's a few probably other superheroes that will be able to use this kind of technology. And I think aside from the fact that what I understand is due to the fact that Lego can only have so much airspace in a box to be a legal product in certain countries. They cram everything in, so like usual, this is how my instruction books arrived. It's not a huge deal, but it can get frustrating when you're trying to open the pages and they're continually closing on you. I guess we could just use some Lego as weights to hold it down. Anyhow, my review for this is if you have kids that love The Incredibles, they will probably adore these sets. For an AFOL, aside from the printed bricks, there's nothing beyond outstanding. One thing of note, and in the AFOL community, we often make jokes about old product, and I really had a Jack Stone moment. I've pulled the back wall off the house, and I was pretty surprised when I realized I'm just going to take the roof off the house and pop the light and the doorknob so you can see that this is indeed one piece with 2 window panels and a door. We typically don't see a piece this big made anymore by Lego, but we are seeing it in Freudian slip. I just called Junior Jack Stone. Hear me loud and clear. I am much more of a fan of the Junior line than I ever was of Jack Stone. However, the one big pieces like this, I don't personally feel is necessary. I think it's underestimating kids' ability to build and attention span. The other thing I'm not a fan of, and I'll just pop this off, is they tend to use these a lot in the sets. These plates that fit together are the ones that, let's see which one shows it off better. Without ripping it apart, that won't be a possibility, so we will just continue to rip apart. It's these plates that have, they're 2 plate thickness with the inserts and then one side that juts out. The symmetry of this drives me insane, or the lack of symmetry. But these seem to be very popular. I'm not sure where the thinking on this goes, except for perhaps maybe maybe it's a little bit simpler for the kids. I'm not sure, because I see the kids often struggling with the notches in which way this should lay instead of just a regular plate being locked in together with plates on top. However, it does seem to be a staple of the entire junior line. I've built many of the sets, particularly the Disney ones. Anyhow, that's it. So I'm going to say peace out and keep building. Ciao.